There's too much to ask, like why Biden was at the Lincoln Memorial without a mask, huh? Can't believe what I'm seeing now. Got everyone thinking now. Just how much you get paid, only just to hear you say.
We'll circle back with you.
Circle back.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
Circle back.
Love the title music. Still my favorite.
Welcome to Plausible Foolishness. I am one of the two kings of the Rube Empire, the Philosopher King.
Take two.
The Philosopher King. The Ivory Tower. The Mad Scientist Matt. And I've got a perspective on things. With me,
Yeah, you do.
the Kick-Ass Duke. The right hand of the kings. The producer, Dusty.
Dusty. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to Plausible Foolishness. We got some plausibility. We got some foolishness here. And, yeah, we got something to talk about.
Yes, we do. First of all, how you doing? We already talked about this
I'm
because we
good.
thought we went live, but we didn't. How you doing?
I'm good 2 times in a row.
It's a good Thursday.
So, how about you? Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Good.
Good.
If you notice above on the screen, right there, we got a new goal counter. So you can
Yes,
see
we
how
do.
close we are to the goal. Right now, $150, so that we can keep up the multi-stream functionality. So thank you for everybody who's donated so far,
Multi-screen.
and thank you for all the supporters who in the future will help us get to that goal. We appreciate you. Now let's get down to business. And that business is January 6th in the news again. The Capitol riots. Again. Still talking about this. Again. Why is this still a thing?
Have we not gotten past that? Or
Apparently
is
not.
the budget still needing to be covered up because they need to cover up their $4.3 trillion boondoggle?
I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. I mean, I know what it is. This is just an opportunity to denigrate right-wingers, conservatives and libertarians and, people who want freedom. So we can denigrate them, and then we can enlarge our powers. This is basically the Patriot Act, except that the Patriot Act, there was an actual thing that happened, and we can get into whether or not it was, terrorists or homegrown whatever, all that jazz, all the conspiracy theories and all that stuff. And
There's a lot.
there is a lot of stuff. And whatever, I mean, I'm tired of calling things conspiracy theories, but as if to make them, lesser ideas, because they do that for everything now, and so F that.
It's a
Also,
conspiracy theory.
can we?
Doesn't mean it's not true.
yeah, exactly. Also, this government is evil, and I wouldn't put past governments are evil, and I wouldn't
Yes.
put it past them. But
Mhm.
still, I want evidence, like real evidence. Um, um, anyway, that being said, January 6th was is nothing. It's complete nothing.
Yeah.
That's why we call it the riots. Nothing really happened. There was no riots there. They walked around. Guards walked them around. The guards opened the doors. The guards removed the barriers.
Yep.
Nothing happened. And so that's why it's so enraging. But let's get to the article. Okay? What just happened? Sweet.
I wanted to see what it looked like.
Yes. Oh, snap. Is that a 5 gifted subs from one Dustin Peterson? I don't know who that is. But thanks for your liege lords. Thank you for paying your voluntary taxes.
There we go. Wait a second.
Yeah, I think I have to adjust this this
And your mic.
what do you mean?
It all of a sudden decided to go staticky.
Oh, boo. Alright, I'll be right back. Give me a second.
Do 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 do.
That should be better.
That's much better.
Okay. So, we'll adjust that. That's incorrect. Now that you've added these gifts, which I appreciate. Thank you.
That's so many gifts.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
many.
I was like, did we really hit $150 already? No way. No, that's impossible.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, we hit $530.40.
Yeah, that's wrong. Okay, so the U.S. House of Representatives voted to approve a criminal contempt referral for Steve Bannon, the former Trump official, over his refusal of a subpoena issued by the January 6th Investigation Committee. The House vote was held Thursday with 229 votes in favor and 202 votes against, which, so obviously those Republicans didn't need to go over the aisle because the Democrats would still have a majority. Bannon has refused to honor the subpoena based on a claim of executive privilege. He didn't work for the Trump administration at the time of the Capitol riot, but he promoted the protests on his podcast and predicted there would be unrest. Former President Donald Trump has sued in order to prevent documents from his administration to be sent to the committee. Trump asked President Joe Biden to extend executive privilege over the documents, but he denied that request. Republican Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy responded that Bannon had a right to argue his case about executive privilege before a court, but added that he did not know if he had a claim to executive privilege or not. Rep. Liz Cheney of Wyoming and Rep. Adam Kinzinger of Illinois were among the Republicans who voted in favor of the resolution. Both are on the January 6th House Select Committee. Listen to this.
Why?
Listen to this quote. People who now seem to have forgotten the danger of the moment, the assault on our Constitution, the assault on our Congress, Cheney said in a speech on the floor ahead of the vote. People who you will hear argue that there is simply no legislative purpose for this committee, for this investigation, or for this subpoena.
Right.
We'll talk. We'll get into that. The matter goes to U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland, who has not yet tipped his hand as to whether the Department of Justice will pursue criminal charges. You'll remember him from his failed attempt to become a Supreme Court justice under Obama. So, you know, this is, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the Biden administration is in many ways Obama 2, the Bidening, you know. The Department of Justice will do what it always does, says Garland Thursday. Apply the facts and the law and make a decision consistent with the principles of prosecution. Bannon faces a punishment of up to a year in prison and a maximum fine of $100,000 if found guilty of contempt of Congress, which is a federal misdemeanor charge. That's a lot for a misdemeanor. A year in prison and $100,000. So, what are we asking tonight? What's the question that we're asking? And to me, the question is, well, there's why, but we've been asking that since day one. You know,
True.
Why is Liz Cheney part of this committee? Like, did the Democrats pick who goes on the committee because they're the majority?
Yes.
Or so Republicans have no say. That's kind of stupid.
There was okay when they were forming this committee, the committee, several months ago.
Yes.
There was tons of outrage from the right side of the aisle due to their overwhelming picking of almost all extreme leftists. AOC, blah, 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 Bernie Sanders, all of these people on this committee, and almost no representation from the other side of the aisle. They wanted this to be one-sided in the worst possible way. So they finally said, okay, fine, we'll invite some of you guys into the House. And what did they do? They went as close to the aisle as they could possibly get and still consider it right.
Gotcha.
So are these people Republicans? Yes, in name only. So,
well, yeah. I mean, that's a given. We know that from the beginning. I mean, you could just tell, like she's full of crap.
Yeah.
That quote from her: the danger to our Constitution. She didn't give a crap about the Constitution. She cares about her power. You know, about her wealth. But
about whether or not she's going to be reelected.
Yeah, exactly. And then and oddly enough, she thinks this is a winning strategy, which is not.
Yeah.
But the real question, I think, for this particular story is, were they right, though?
No.
Well, he didn't show up. So, you know, rule of law is a thing, right?
Is it? You really need to ask Democrats that, because they seem to ignore it most of the time and then implement the parts of it that they want to, when they want to, if they want to.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. But we are, like, is there something to be said for following the law? You know? I mean, he didn't show up. He claims executive privilege, but he wasn't working for the administration at the time. You know, he deserves, like he said, like they said, he deserves to argue that in front of a court. But it seems kind of thin to me. And we can also ask, you know, who's right? Was he right to refuse to go to was he right to refuse the subpoena? Were they right to vote for him? Vote for contempt? I don't know. Like the rebellious side of me says, damn right he was right.
Yeah.
To refuse to go to the subpoena, because this is a garbage committee for no reason. And I think more and more that government has, you know, only the authority that we give them, and we should give them none.
And you know what? In this case, I agree with you. any way to stop them from just grabbing power and taking it, instead of us going, hey, we're going to allow you guys to do this, but we're taking this back. That should be the way it happens. But it's not happening that way.
But the other side of me is like, it makes, the Republican Party proclaims itself to be a party of law and order.
Correct.
And so then it makes sense. He's not following the law. You're supposed to have to answer to a subpoena.
So here's kind of what I equate this to. It's a witch hunt, right? The only reason why they're doing this is because they couldn't impeach Trump, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They're upset that they couldn't impeach him twice. They couldn't touch him twice. So what they'll do is they'll go after whoever they can.
Definitely. But he could have just shown up and said, I'm not answering your questions. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. The fifth. Over and over again. And what are they going to do about it? Well, we're going to give you immunity. And then he'll just be in contempt again. Because he's like,
yeah.
I'm not ratting out anybody. And there's nothing to rat out.
No, there isn't. He didn't do anything. Trump didn't do anything. The administration didn't do anything.
Yeah. He basically said on his podcast, he promoted the protests.
Yeah.
Which I remember not too long ago. I'm old enough to remember when the Democrats said that protesting is the most American thing you can do.
How dare you bring that up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I am. You're absolutely right. Oh, we're remote. I need to set up the remote things.
How dare you?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Is that good enough?
No, it was not good enough, and I apologize. It's my fault. But that's okay. So he's
But to be fair, he should have just showed up. Granted, I would have loved to. I like the fact that he's a bit rebellious. He's like, yeah, screw you guys. I'm not doing this. Pulling a Cartman. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
I think the only thing about it, the only thing about the rebellious thing is the claim of executive privilege is so thin.
Yeah.
I'd rather him just be like, no. Not. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to. I have executive privilege, so I'm not gonna come. No, just flat out. No.
Yeah.
I'm not coming. Well, we're gonna hold you in contempt.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure if he did,
my response to contempt is cram it with walnuts, ugly.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah. It's I would rather have gotten just a flat out no.
I would have liked to see him go there, stand up, and for every question they ask, say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sir, can you please state your name? And just repeat it over and over again.
Although I don't really, I've started to not care so much for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I don't care. It says something that has absolutely nothing to do with whatever the question is, and call that an answer, because that's exactly what Democrats do. I mean, have you seen some of the stuff where they're being questioned about mask mandates or
Except that they look like
any of this.
lunatics when they do it. You know?
Just flat out say something that has nothing to do with it, and just keep repeating it over and over again, and go, okay, there's your answer. You want, if you'd like you want an answer, there you go. It's not what you're looking for, but there's your answer.
Yeah.
Prosecute me.
Do it! Come on! Prosecute me! Do it now!
Be like South Park when they did that one episode, and all the people that made that one episode about Scientology put John Smith and Jane Smith. The entire everybody that produced it, John Smith, Jane Smith. Sue me. What are you gonna do?
You
Sue
don't know
me.
who made this. I mean, except for Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
And by the way, they still wrote Joe Smith and John Smith.
Joe Smith and John Smith. That's great. Yeah.
Go ahead and sue them. They're the ones that made it.
So like, let's talk about the political divide. You know, like clearly not clearly. Like clearly the 9 Republicans who voted are not Republicans. They're Democrats posing as Republicans.
Yeah.
They side with the Democrats on everything. They hated Trump like the Democrats hated Trump. They, you know, they're lunatics with R's next to their name, just like the Democrats are. They're no different.
Are.
What? Say that again?
I think most Republicans are just Democrats with R's in front of their names.
Yeah, I mean, or Democrat lights, you know.
Yeah, exactly. They're all big government.
They're Democrats stuck in a gravity well, so time moves slower, you know. But they still end up in the same place.
Yeah.
Well, a little science fiction for you. But, like we said before, you know, rule of law, he didn't show up. So,
yeah,
it's like in some ways you could think about it that the 200 and something Republicans that voted no were doing it along, you know, just to be partisan.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, if you're looking at the law of it, he refused a subpoena. You know?
Yeah.
The response to that is to be held in contempt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So I don't know enough legal theory. I don't know enough legal theory for this. But does the Senate have the right to hold trial? In other words, are they able to actually? Are there judges there?
Well, I mean, they said it's a federal misdemeanor. They're not judges, but they have these committees, and they issue subpoenas, and you have to come, and they can hold. You know, I mean,
and you're supposed to testify, which is
like I don't know what happens at the end of the committee. Let's say they find somebody responsible. Does it then? Do they then submit it to a court system, like a federal court?
I don't know. I don't know what the process is with that. And
well, I guess it would go to. Well, you know what? Okay. I think this is a perfect example because what did this say? They found somebody. They said they approved for a referral for criminal contempt, right? That doesn't mean he gets arrested and he's been tried. He hasn't been tried for criminal contempt.
No, he hasn't been tried for anything. He just gets referred, which means it goes to a court.
Yeah, it goes to the Attorney General, the U.S. Attorney General, Merrick Garland, and then he reviews it and he can press charges. So I think any of this committee stuff would go in that direction. The committee would get its findings, present it to the U.S. Attorney General, and then the legal system would, the judicial branch would take over. So that's
Okay.
the way. I mean, I think we just reasoned it out, and I think that's pretty solid.
Seems about right.
So I guess the thing is that, like, from my perspective, I don't care if they're being partisan or not. I'm kind of done with them altogether, and I think their authority is bogus. And then just because 222 people decided that something is the law, I have no moral imperative to follow it.
Now you're talking about the House. The House doesn't have any right to make laws. They're the purse strings.
Well, they're involved in the process. It goes through the House, it goes into the Senate, all that stuff, right?
But the House just votes on whether or not they're going to fund different laws. That's how they control what laws are made and which ones falter, is whether or not they're willing to finance it.
Is that entirely it? Are we sure about that?
That's in the framework of the Constitution. That's what the House is supposed to do. Now, what they actually do today is a lot more than that. They actually put in, well, we needed to say this, we need to say this, otherwise we won't finance it. And then they send it back to the Senate. The Senate puts that in and then sends it back to the House.
Gotcha.
So the House can't really.
Like, they have approval power. It's still part of, like, bills can originate in the House, though.
They can be suggested in the House, sent over to the Senate, and then voted on, ratified, and then brought back to the House for vote ratification on budgetary.
So it's still the same thing. It's originated in the House, and then it's sent. I mean, there's a process to it, but either way, they're involved in lawmaking, and
Correct.
it's the same. But like, my feelings are the same with the Senate. Just because, two crusty old farts from each of the 50 states decides that something is the law.
Yep.
What does that even mean?
It's not at all.
Like, this has been ingrained in us since we were children. And frankly, it's been ingrained in humanity since, like, the dawn of time, that, some humans have authority over others. But they don't, unless we let them. Am I right? Or am I wrong?
Yes, you are. No, you're right.
So,
something only has power as long as somebody else is willing to follow it. If you get enough people to follow that, then you actually have power.
Yep. Now, it's also and the problem is that they have, federal agencies and local law enforcement agencies that all follow their authority and enforce it.
Yeah, you got to watch out for authority.
Yeah, and I don't respect their authority anymore. I don't respect their authority.
That's exactly what it is a little kid on a tricycle beating on people with a nightstick.
Yeah, or a gun.
Instead of...
Or
I don't think he ever had a gun. It's just a nightstick.
No, not him.
Anyways,
but I'm saying, like, in real life, a gun.
A weapon.
Or they're, throwing old ladies down to the ground and macing them. Two of them at the same time, macing her in the face. Did you see that in Australia?
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
I've seen a lot of the protests in Australia. My cousin lives there.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
And she's...
I mean, not
she's
awesome
been
right
keeping me
now, but...
updated on that.
Well, I say God bless those protesters in Australia. Because from my understanding, they're not common. Like, it's more common to be the complacent, go along to get along in Australia than it is to be these people who are fighting for their freedoms.
Same thing in Canada.
Yeah.
There are protests in Canada, and yet most people there are just, hey, what's this all about?
Yeah. Why are they're more like confounded, like, why are you fighting this?
Yeah.
Whereas in America, we have it in our blood. Fight.
And the funny thing is these protests, at every single one of these protests, what are they what flag are they flying? The American flag.
So
Why?
amazing.
Why are they flying the American flag?
It's so amazing.
Because we are the symbol of freedom, of protest,
of rebellion,
being able to of
rebellion against
of being able
unjust
to say,
authority. Yep. I say it doesn't matter what Congress does. Screw them. Steve Bannon was right to resist. He should have just said no, instead of trying to come up with a legal excuse, a very thin one, I think. And
thin can be.
Yeah, and
but
he was right.
And
might be a bit thicker. Luckily he can afford $100,000 and possibly a year in jail. A year in jail will only increase his street cred.
Well, he does have a pretty significant backer, so
true. But
and real quick, on that backer point of view, I did want to bring up one little side subject. Have you seen about Trump's new social media?
Yes, I saw there were a couple articles on like the Washington Post and New York Times, but I didn't look into them.
So currently it's only available in beta and only available on Apple. It's called The Truth.
Okay.
Social media, The Truth. I don't know. I'm not sure how this is going to go, because it does have their own servers, so they're not having to rely on Amazon or Google or anything like that.
Nice.
So you don't have that issue. But what kind of stuff's going to be showing up there? I'm hoping that it's going to be all good.
Well, if it's truly a free marketplace, you can't expect that, because man has fallen. So it's
Correct.
going to be whatever people want it to be if it's truly a free marketplace, but that's okay. That's okay. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. All right?
Well said. Well said.
And I didn't make that up. So I'm not going to take credit for it. But I do. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. And that's the deal. Free speech is dangerous. People say stupid, evil, hateful things sometimes, and incite other people to do other things. And it's dangerous. But like we said earlier, authority is only what you give to somebody else, And I'm done with people having authority over me. And like, I feel like things are going to get more and more dangerous, man. There's going to be the cops who leave because they won't go as far as, like they don't want to go where the cops in Australia are going, for instance, Yeah. There'll be those. But there's plenty of people who don't give a crap, that they're cops because they like being a bully, Yeah. They love the feel. Yeah, they love that rush of slamming an old lady to the ground because she wasn't following orders. Like I saw there was Sydney Watson posted a video of the dude is walking in the park and three cops come up to check if he actually has drink in his cup because his mask was down. Oh my gosh. The rage. Every time I think about it, the rage that I feel in my chest. Who the heck do you think you are? Then there's the videos of like they have this like big guy and like four of them are holding him back while the other one is like jamming a mask over his face. These people have lost their minds and they don't think anything of it.
Oh, jeez.
And so there'll be the cops who leave because they don't want that. They didn't sign up for that. They signed up to protect and serve. You know? And
Yeah.
and for sure they didn't think about, they probably never once thought about whether laws are just or unjust, you know? Whether, you know, they haven't had this conversation of authority and all that stuff. And so, but there was a line. There's a line that they wouldn't cross, right?
Yeah. That they shouldn't cross.
Yeah, like we can have the conversation. Are speeding tickets theft? I say yes, 100%.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
You know, but that never crossed their mind. They thought, I'm protecting people from, you know, this is an
Dangerous
incentive
drivers.
for people to not be dangerous drivers, and that protects lives. Blah blah blah.
Yes, but that went way from, all right, we're trying to protect people by incentivizing good driving, into this is now a cash grab.
Well, that's what it always becomes. It's a tax on
And
driving.
just like there's a law that most states have, that if you're traveling across the country and you have a significant amount of cash, anything usually right around 2,000 or above in cash on you, and you're traveling across the country, if the police stop you, they can take that and seize it if they think it's going to be used for nefarious use.
Yeah.
And that can mean absolutely anything they want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And quite often, they just say, listen, if you want your stuff back, you can have your stuff back. Just sign this paperwork and release the cash to us. Oh, you want to hold on to all that? Okay, you're going to jail for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Yeah. It's disgusting. It's an abuse.
Yeah.
It's a major abuse of power. But
Correct.
So then my argument is, so we talk about abuses of power. They're happening everywhere. Why are we giving these people power? I contend that we don't need to. We don't need them.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Especially at the federal level. Especially at the federal level, we don't need them. You know? Your local communities,
Seriously.
you know, can come together and decide what they want. But even then, I'm like, it keeps ringing in my head. Just because a majority of people agree on that they should have some power over me doesn't mean that they have power over me.
Or should have power over you.
Yeah.
That's not freedom. That's tyranny.
Yes, and this is why
Tyranny of the masses.
falling into
And
anarchism.
that's what democracy is.
This is why I'm falling into anarchism. Because
Tyranny of the masses is
that's
just democracy.
Sure.
In its purest form.
Sure.
And democracy is not a good thing. I've never advocated for democracy.
Sure.
Democracy is a
And
horrible
I understand
idea.
we're a
It's
republic.
Right there with communism.
I understand. Yeah, exactly. I understand that we're in a republic, and things are a little bit different. We have representation, but
Correct.
that's just democracy with a few extra steps. I'm beginning to realize. I mean, just because a portion of the population, first of all, not the entire population, because only a small portion of the population votes, but just because, and that's assuming that our votes are free and fair.
Yeah. And not tampered.
Yeah. But and there's no reason to think that they would be, YouTube, so there's no reason to shut us down. Yeah. But
that definitely got a three.
yeah, there you go. But just because a small portion of our population, and then the majority of that small portion, thinks that this guy should be our representative, doesn't mean that he represents me.
No.
I represent me.
Yes.
He doesn't. We may agree on some things. We may disagree on everything. He doesn't represent me.
I want to issue a challenge.
Yes.
I dare anybody in our listening audience to call their senator and get him on the phone. During work hours, try and call your senator and get him on the phone. I know I've tried.
Yeah,
I've tried many times. I've never been able to get in touch with her. She's always out of the office. She's never in her office. And it's always been an aide that I've spoken to.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been able to get anybody on the phone.
Now, granted, there's 330 million people in the United States. There's many millions in the state of Florida.
We have representation. And if she is supposed to be my representation, then why shouldn't I be able to talk with her?
I mean, agreed. I'm not disagreeing with you.
I've even emailed and not gotten anything back.
Of course not.
So that means she's not representing me.
No, she's not.
So how is that representation?
It's not. It's not. So, like, let's say representation was even legit, which I'm arguing that it's not, but it's not a terrible system. It's not communism, you know? I'm not saying that we're enslaved because we have a representative republic, but it's not as free as I want to be. You know?
Yep.
But so we'll hold that aside. My penchant for freedom. It's not being done properly. You know?
I don't think so.
At all. You can't get a hold of them. There's not enough representation. Like, but I don't know how. I mean, the government would have to be massive in order to truly represent us the way we.
And then we're getting into democracy territory.
Exactly. Then we're just moving back into a democracy where everybody represents themselves with a vote, and then that's still just tyranny of the mob. You know,
of the masses.
But that just shows that this is all tyranny of the mob. It's still tyranny of the mob. You know, but with the representative republic, it's tyranny of the mob in Washington, because they don't actually represent us. So it's their little elite clique ruling us as they see fit. Making up stories about riots when we can see, withholding thousands of hours of footage, but even in the footage that was released, we can see that there was no riot. That it's all a farce. And then our representative, well, Wisconsin's representative, I believe. Let me make sure. Oh no, Wyoming's representative, Liz Cheney, can say this crap again, and I'm going to read it. People who now seem to have forgotten the danger of the moment, the assault on our Constitution, the assault on our Congress. People who you will hear argue that there is simply no legislative purpose for this committee, for this investigation, or for this subpoena. There is no purpose except to make you more powerful. And to denigrate people who think like me and like you and like all of you people watching our show. And thank you for watching.
And with that, I think that's a good stopping point, because that brings us right back to the beginning of where we're at, is the tyranny of the masses to essentially control everything to take it away from us.
And on that note,
So,
you've been watching Plausible Foolishness, home of the Rube Empire, where the people are free. The taxes, they're voluntary. And we serve freshly roasted liberal logic every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 9:30 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/plausiblepoolishness, YouTube, Facebook Live, Rumble, anywhere you can get a podcast, Instagram, and minds.com. Please like, share, subscribe, and if you can, donate. There's links in the About page on Twitch and in the descriptions on Facebook and YouTube. Help us reach our goal, and and your liege lords will thank you.
we appreciate it.
Yes, we do. Peace out.
Circle back if there's more I can share with you. I'll circle back with you if there's more to convey. I'll have to just circle back with you. We can circle back with him. I'm happy to circle back with you. I can circle back. I will have to.
It's pretty obvious we all know you're pretending. You have no actual facts for the lies that you're defending. Conservatives not the only ones who find it condescending. The real reason you circle back is cause you know it's never ending. Round and round and round you go, dancing like a puppet show. Just a simple yes or no. Thousands watching wanna know the truth. I guess there's too much to ask. Like why Biden was at the Lincoln Memorial without a mask, huh? Can't believe what I'm seeing now. Got everyone thinking now. Just how much you get paid. Only just to hear you say.
We'll circle back with you.
Circle back.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
Circle back.
I'm happy to circle back.
Circle back. Only just to hear you say. In the beginning, we tried giving you a chance, but it seems intimidating if reporters start raising hands. Is it better if we send you the questions far in advance? Honestly, all we really want is answers about your mans. Cause the fence around the Capitol means it's for securing borders. With Harriet Tubman on the 20, who can we expect on quarters? If Trump decided to sign this many executive orders, will you consider him a dictator or truly support it? We wanna know. Can't believe what I'm seeing now. Got everyone thinking now. Just how much you get paid. Only just to hear you say.
We'll circle back with you.
Circle back.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
Circle back.
I'm happy to circle back.
Circle back. Only just to hear you say. Alright, Jensage, you're the blunt of the joke. But this message for anybody I see still fake woke. We see the strings of the vision that you all constantly stroke. And the fist full of propaganda you shove down our throats. Boy, I miss the days when we used to have Kaylee Mack. When they rapid fire questions, she would counterattack. How does it feel to know that we all caught on to the act? Let me guess.
But I will have to circle back with you on that as well.
Can't believe what I'm seeing now. Got everyone thinking now. Just how much you get paid. Only just to hear you say.
We'll circle back with you.
Circle back.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
Circle back.
I'm happy to circle back.
Circle back. Only just to hear you say.
I'm not a toady. Someday I would buy dollies with good orient, sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the prow, noble bark I steer. Steady course for the haven. Too many foemen, too many foemen, too many foemen.
Tens of thousands on my right, thousands by my side. War between good and evil, watching our fists collide. Battle for our freedom now, to the streets we ride. Flags waving all around, pages full of pride. This is where we make a stand, no more give or take. March around the Capitol, storm the city gates. Putting pressure on their necks until the truth breaks. All walls of corruption, take out all the snakes. Star Spangled Banner, got it playing loud and proud. People from all walks of life filling up the crowd. Defend the Constitution, many warriors have vowed. Casting down any among us who have bucked and cowed. Enough with tyranny, we come to take our country back. For all citizens, white, red, brown, or black. Return her to a form of glory, fix the bloody crack on the crown. Fetch it down, it's going down.
Someday I would buy bodies with good origin, sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the prow, noble but pristine. Steady push for the heathens, human foemen.
My mama told me, yeah, she warned me that this day would come. I'm like my father, go to combat with the blazing guns. I survived that, then I came back to the place I'm from to face off all these haters and the battle in the place I love. You can't break me down, I'm indivisible. You still see my raps if I was invisible. But I'm standing tall, and I spit the truth. So you all appalled, cause you know it's true. They call it freedom cause the fallen troops pay for this. I love this country, doesn't matter how much hate I get. I take my colors in the battle, ain't no wavering. Cause this is for my warriors who marching to the cadences. This is for the sisters working hard on the ship. This is for the brothers getting y'all doctorate. Father, yeah, taking y'all on the ship. Baby, tell me why it's hard for the patriot.
My mother told me someday I would buy bodies with good origin, sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the prow, noble but pristine. Steady push for the heathens, human foemen, human foemen, human foemen.
Banger, 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 gotta bang. We the ones that put the words that's scrolling out in outer space. You don't want a war with stars, we all a problem. We the gang that took over these coordinates, don't bring it our way. Fire.